You may have seen this on your TV screens.
Ma'am? September is serious about raising money to fight cancer in men. Go to blueseptember.org.au, donate or start your own fundraising page and join the fight.
One of those people plastered in blue paint for a good cause was Melbourne Channel 9 reporter Brett McLeod. He's my studio guest. Brett McLeod, good evening.
Pleased to be here, Derryn. We've scrubbed up quite well after all that.
Yeah, I was lucky. I ducked in suddenly. I don't know how it was. It almost missed me. But
you did very nicely. Unfortunately, I copped a face full, but it was all for a good cause. We were there for a good reason.
That's true. Now, you should be the expert at the moment on prostate cancer because you just come back from a World Congress in Cairns.
In Cairns, in lovely Cairns. First time up there, but it was organised by Australian Prostate Cancer Research, of which I'm ambassador. And so they had 700 delegates from all around the world talking about the latest understanding in prostate cancer. Now, of course, Blue September covers all of the top 5 lethal men's cancers, and prostate cancer is up there. We have the worst incidence of prostate cancer per capita in the world. 1 in 5 Australian men will get prostate cancer. That might be an underestimate. And the question is why, and what do we do about it? How do we treat it? How do we make men aware that you've got to take responsibility for your own health?
Well, in your own case, when did you sort of decide you should do something about it?
When my brother was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Colin's 9 years older than me, and he found out he had prostate cancer literally by accident. He went into a clinic where my wife works as a nurse, and another nurse accidentally pricked her finger with a needle, and there's a protocol which means that everyone in the room has to have a HIV test. And the doctor said to Colin, well, look, have you had a PSA test recently, which is the prostate-specific antigen, which is a blood test for prostate? And Colin said, no, why don't we get that? Measured his PSA. It was quite high for his age group. Went and had a biopsy. A few weeks later, had his prostate out. He had quite aggressive prostate cancer. So I went to a blood...
No, okay, let's back up. So he had felt no side effects. He felt nothing. He didn't feel ill.
He'd had the digital rectal exam, as the doctors call it, the finger up the bum in layman's terms, only a few weeks before, found nothing. And yet there was a significant tumour on him that if they hadn't had that accident, he might have not have found out for another year or two, and who knows what the outcome would have been. Yeah. As a result of that, I went into a program through the Peter MacCallum just to find out how relatives can get prostate cancer. So I went and had my blood tested quite regularly, and within a few years, my PSA started going up. Did a biopsy, and they found a very, very, very tiny, we're talking like a match head, tumour in there. It's still cancer. It's still that word. As you know, it's a big word, the one that's cancer.
So for you, when it's that small, though, so just watch and wait?
Watch and wait. They call it active surveillance. And about 40 to 50% of men in America, 40% of men in Victoria do this. We just have regular testing. And if nothing changes, you don't have to do anything.
Well, that watch and wait thing, when I was first diagnosed with liver cancer, it was a very tiny... foreign body very close to up to the corner of the heart, and I'd go in every 3 months and have an ultrasound, and I'd go home and say, well, it hasn't moved, it hasn't grown, so if it ain't going anywhere, I ain't going anywhere. But right. You're wise to keep checking on it.
You've got to keep checking. That's the only place where active surveillance falls down, is if men don't stay in the program, and you have to. And it's why I say I've got prostate cancer, it's got no symptoms, and I hope to have it for a very long time.
Yeah. Why did they say to the Congress, why do Australian men more susceptible than other countries?
No, I mean, it's still being discussed. There's a lot of areas when it comes to prostate research. It's a very new area, even though obviously prostate cancer has been around a long time.
It's one of the biggest killers in Australia.
3,000 men die each year. And as prostate cancer research says, no man needs to die of prostate cancer. It's something which is eminently treatable. There are side effects, and that worries a lot of men, but better to know you've got it than not. 3,000 men each year, and hopefully that number will decline as people start becoming more aware of the need to do testing. But it is something which people need to be aware of. Men are hopeless. I know, as a man. You know as a man. We're hopeless at going to the doctor.
No, actually, I'm one of the few that's not. I mean, I disputed to one of the panel the other day and they knocked me down and said, no, men are hopeless. I said, look, I'm like, with the doctors, I'm like Pavlov's dog, you know. I do what they tell me to do. If I have to do this, I do it, you know. If I feel sick, I go and see a doctor.
Well,
I'm told that's unusual.
It makes you a good exception. I think men are getting better at it, hopefully because we're listening to our wives and partners saying, get along to the doctor. But the main thing is just taking a bit of responsibility for your own health. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones. Do it for those who care about you the most. And it might just be your life you're saving. You might be helping your kids or your other relatives as well.
But you say the side effects, and one of the side effects, when your prostate out, can be impotence.
Yes.
Right? So erectile dysfunction. So that would put a lot of men thinking, oh, put them off it. But of course, if you're dead, you can't use it either.
Well, that's true. Exactly. It's no use to you then. Yeah, impotence and incontinence. That's the big
incontinence as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, whenever you have your prostate out, my understanding is you will have that for an amount of time. It's a question of whether it's a few weeks, a few months, or longer term. And of course, the technology is getting better. There's robotic surgery now. There's also radiotherapy, radioactive therapy. There are different treatments that are going on. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach. A few years ago, it would have been for everyone, prostate out, and you wear the consequences. Not the same for that now. And again, you've got to weigh up the alternative. If you don't have that, you need to, you're not going to be in a very good place.
Yes, that's true. Now, totally off subject, but you're up there at the Congress. People you meet, people you bump into.
It was quite extraordinary. I took a day off and went out to the Great Barrier Reef. Can't believe it. 52 years old, I'd never been to the Great Barrier Reef. So my wife and I went out there and hopped on a little snorkeling, on the catamaran there was a little snorkeling tour for about a dozen people. Having a snorkel around, majestic, the Great Barrier Reef, and I see a bloke in the water and I think, he is familiar. And I thought, is he an actor? Is he a rock star? Sort of in his 40s? We hopped back on the boat and then I thought, ping, a light went off. So I said to him, this may seem a really strange question, but are you Ed Miliband? And he said, yes, I am. He's, of course, the Labor leader who was last candidate to become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And I said, well, isn't this your lucky day? I've just been for a swim with sharks, and you've been swimming with a journalist as well.
He'd be happy with the sharks after the mauling he got during the election.
Absolutely. But he was terrific. He was relaxed. Wasn't an in-depth interview at all. We were both dripping wet in our wetsuits. But I think he thought it was hilarious.
Right, now, with one final point, with Blue September, we are raising money. The aim is to get $400,000 for prostate research.
Yes.
You must have, you've got your own ambassador account. You can give it a...
I've started, and it's if you go to blueseptember.org.au, then there is all sorts of people you can donate for, or you can just give a general donation. It can be on your account, my account. There's a whole lot of people who are ambassadors for this great cause, and they're raising money for a specific purpose. It's not just a general purpose. They're getting cystoscopes for the Men's Health Clinic, which is open here in Melbourne, in Parkville. It's a fantastic clinic.
World class. Yeah.
First in Australia, and I hope it's the first of many to come, because it's what we need more of, so you can do your bit to help.
Yep. Thanks for giving me Sunday night.
Pleasure to be here, Derryn.
Brett McLeod from Channel 9.